it's over. Let's get into it. This is season 2, episode 23 of the series. And we can get right into it. So this is part 3 of World War Zero. And in the last episode, a lot of stuff happened. The fall of the Holy French Empire happened. And well, something happened and now the Greeks have declared war on the Polish. That's interesting. Russia is in an interesting situation. And yeah, and Iberia is doing stuff over in the peninsula. But let's talk about the Germanic state. Secretly, behind closed doors, in this major city of Poland, the Germanicist kings and the Polish leader, or the Polish dictator, is both trying to make a deal. A deal that will allow the Germanicist state to stay alive after the end of the war. This deal is saying that the Holy French Empire is going to collapse, and the Germanicist state will be allowed to exist, but the Holy French Empire will never be allowed to exist again, and the Germanicist state must stay in Germany. So, and they must let go of some areas here, and in return, the Polish will send them aid to rebuild their nation. Yeah. And this deal is set. Both nations agree, and now that means the Germanic state will be existing after World War Zero. United. It won't be divided. Yeah. Where should we start now? I think we should start with Russia. As Russia is, if you can't tell, they're in a very large collapse. As these royalists here, which are attempting to bring peace to Russia, they have a new system of government, and they know it as monarchy. This idea is ruled by a king or a queen, basically. And basically, this is the first form of monarchy in this world. When I said king and the kings of this Germanic state, this is different. Monarchy kind of got invented here. But this is a different way than what the Russians are doing. The Russians are doing it like a full-on monarchy. Like the one king rules and the queen. Yeah, stuff like that. Basically kind of like the British in real life. In their colonial era. Yeah. And basically, this little thing will be going ahead and being very popular in the government. As the old Russian dictatorial government is very unpopular, as another major city and many major areas of Russia are starting to rebel to this very giant rebellion. The Russian forces will in fact have a counteroffensive and push back the Ukrainian rebels and over here, and will be able to make a massive front line taking this major city and this one. And the current capital of the new Russian government, has been moved to this major city here, where it's temporarily located. Yeah. And the Russian government is still decently popular. It's just unpopular in the capital region, but it's somewhat popular over here. But the government, the old one, is going to be able to push back a bit and take a few major cities and even their once capital city. And they're going to try to defeat the rebellion. They will be able to push Estonia back a lot and start pushing into more Polish territory, officially entering actual Polish territory once more. They will also be able to go ahead and take this major city. And all this is because of the new leader of Russia, which is a very powerful leader. But eventually the Russians, the old government, is going to be powerful enough to send its troops over into Ukraine and start pushing back the rebellion more. Eventually, these Caucasians will send more of their troops up and recapture the capital city of Volga. Yeah. Or the Volga part of the Russian Union. Yeah. Eventually, the Volga rebels will be going ahead and pushing down, taking this major city, and the Ukrainian rebels will be able to push up and connect with this, making a huge encirclement of Russian troops. Eventually, this encirclement is going to get defeated badly, as well. This is just not going good at all, as these troops will be going ahead and just being absolutely massacred in this area. And Caucasia will be taking the final major city and forcing this area to surrender. This is a massive blow for the Russian government, as the Russians have lost a lot of their troops. Yeah. Let's go over here now. Because last episode, the Greek Alliance declared war on the 4-Point Star Alliance. And this is going to start with the Romanians entering their troops over into this yellow nation. Because this thing is small, they will able to quickly take its capital. Eventually, both of the Yugoslav nations will go ahead and start pushing into mainland Yugoslavia, as they both will be going ahead and taking the capital city of the Yugoslav front. The Yugoslav front is very unstable right now, but eventually more troops will come up from Italy and over to here to help start a pushback, as the actual Yugoslavians, will be able to take the capital city back, or occupied again. Going to Romania, we're going to be seeing the Romanians start to push back the Polish-Lithuanians. Yeah, I don't really know what to call these guys. I think I'll call them Poles because they have a lot of Polish in it, but I'll also call them Lithuania. Yeah. But this Romanians team's main goal is to capture the capital city of this weak Orange Nation. This Orange Nation is situated in an area with no major population centers, so that's good for them. But if they can knock this major Orange team out, they're going to be able to go to Switzerland and maybe take that, which will definitely help with pushing back if they're able to separate the alliance. Yeah. Eventually, this major city is going to be captured, as the Romanians will fully occupy the rest of this nation and start pushing into Yugoslav territory. And they start pushing back in the Orange team as they're able to get to about this river area. But the Polish won't surrender, as they will be able to fully kick the Romanians out of their territory and will be able to take this major city. And even this one, as they start pushing into more the border territory that they've occupied from Russia. Yeah. Going back to the front over here, we're going to be seeing the Romanians go ahead and capture more territory as they take the capital city of the Orange team, which is pretty bad, as they will be able to take this major city and the Orange team starts capitulating. And eventually, the Red team will be deciding to do what it does best, and will be deciding to command the Romanians to go ahead and target this major city over here inside of this thing. Yeah. But why are we in the religion map now? Because okay, that's not very good. Don't do that, Romania. Well, no one's stopping them, so yeah, nobody's stopping them from doing this. But this is very bad, as a lot of people are getting unalived here. Yeah. And the reason the Greeks said this is so they can capture this city, and if they capture this city, which is basically the main, that city, basically the capital of the whole Yellow Religion. If that city, the capital city, Slovenia, falls, the Yellow Religion itself will start to collapsing. Not the nations in it, but the whole religion itself. This whole Yellow Religion this whole yellow blob on the map, it's just going to collapse if this thing gets captured. Yeah, that's really bad. But the Greeks will be able to convince the Romanians and the Yugoslav nations to do this, as they will start to go ahead and this nation will capture this major city, and even the capital of Yugoslavia, as Yugoslavia has too many fronts around it, and they will be losing their final major city, and eventually the Yugoslav nation is just going to surrender, which is bad, because that city that the Romanians are trying to capture is right there. As they start to push into here and take this major city of the Slovenians, as they take another major city up here. Eventually, Poland is going to decide, you know what? If the Orange team won't fight back against this government, then we will. And the Polish just decide to go ahead and take full occupation of the rest of the Orange team. And they actually do surprisingly well, recapturing the capital city of the once Orange nation that is fully occupied now. But they won't be able to get past this river. They'll have some trouble there. Eventually, Italian troops will be able to get into this area and start to push back a bit more. But Romanian forces are blistering over into here, and, yeah, they're doing very bad things. And they're, doing that, I can say. Yeah, yeah. Also, little pretty cool thing I have. If you're wondering what this is the occupation zones of nations over the religion layer. And well, if you're very confused with this map and never want to see it again, then you don't have to, because I'm never showing you that again. Yeah. But going over here, we are going to be seeing the Romanians continue to push back. Eventually, they'll be able to go ahead and reach this coastline, encircling a bunch of Slovenian troops. And the Yugoslavs will capture them and bring them down to Greece, where, they're doing very bad things. And eventually, the Romanians will be able to encircle the capital city of this nation, and eventually won't be able to capture it, as the Italians will decide to make a bold move. They are going to go over to Egypt in their alliance. Their proposal is if they join the war, they will be able to get protection and basically join forces with these alliances, protecting not only their religion, the yellow religion, and the green religion as well. Yeah, that's a thing. And well, basically, they will also be able to push back a very, rival of Egypt, which is, a rival of Egypt is actually Judea, but is also Greece in its own way. Greece has never liked Egypt, and well, yeah. Basically, the Italians and the Egyptians will be making an alliance. And basically, they join forces to take down the Greeks, which is, if you can guess it, pretty bad. So the Egyptians will be sending their forces up over into Italy through here, and the Italians will be able to make a landing over here in this major city of the Albanian region and capture it. Seeing this, another thing basically seeing this, the Greeks are going to demand the Romanians to stop their expansions and take their way out of this area, as the Romanians will be forced to retreat out of Slovenia by the orders of the Greeks, and will be forced to send their troops all the way down to Greece in order to defend Greece. Yeah. And also, these nations will start to push back more as Slovenia starts to take more land. The Slovenian occupation is going very well, as the red religion is starting to get pushed back all by itself. As going to the religion layer, we are going to be seeing more people starting to push back against the Romanians, even though the Romanians still occupy them. Yeah, that is a thing, definitely. Oh, willpower. I don't need to worry about that. As the Slovenians will be starting to push back more, and will be able to take this major city. Yeah. Which I'm pretty sure this major city was once the capital of the yellow team. That's an interesting fact. Yeah. Going down to Poland, we're going to be seeing the Polish finally push back against this river and take this major city, and will be able to encircle a giant part of Romanian troops. As the Swiss rebellion, which actually started this war, as a fact, this whole giant world war started because of the Brown Swiss rebellion here. That's a thing. Small wars. Yeah. Big wars started by rebellions. Small wars, yeah. Big wars started by small wars, yeah. Just take a look at World War. Well, so basically these troops will be gone. Yeah. And Romania starts to go chaotic. But going over here, we are going to be seeing the Russian government start to collapse a lot more as they lose their once capital city region. And they will be losing this major city over to the monarchists, as the Polish will even start to push back on this front line. And they will be granting Estonia some of this land. They basically will let Estonia go ahead and occupy this land, as it's technically their rightful land. Despite the whole Estonianism thing, they are still brothers in the end, as they stem from the same, yellow over here in the Balkans. They stem from that. Yeah. And eventually the Finnish will start to push back and start to push on this temporary capital city over here, as the Estonians will be making an entrance into this little exclave of the yellow religion. Never mentioned that. This is a pretty cool exclave thing over here because of Estonianism. This is an exclave because of Estonianism, and, well, yeah. Eventually the Russian government is going to start to have more chaos in it, as it's gonna go ahead and lose its capital city to Estonia, as the Belarusian front line is going to go ahead and take this major city, and eventually we'll be going ahead and, well, pushing back, as these governments will start to push back a lot more. By the way, with these rebellions, a lot of them aren't actually, like, this full rebellion. Like, I'm pretty sure all these rebellions are, like, split in some way. Except the only rebellions that are singular, whole-colored rebellions are the Loyalist government over here and the Estonianism. All these other tiny and the Swedish one over here. Nearly forgot about that. But all these other rebellions here, so this Volga rebellion, this other Volga rebellion, this Ukrainian rebellion, this Belarusian rebellion, and this Finnish rebellion, all have some sort of split in them that I've just not added to the map. Which I'm not going to add yet. But eventually there's this giant encirclement here, and the Romanians start to push back. And all of Russia's forces are over here in this giant encirclement. And the Loyalists, realizing that, are going to start enforcing this little area and making sure the Russians can't get to it. As more Russian troops are encircled over here, Russia and its government is just gone at this point, as the Belarusian front is going to go ahead and capture more land. Eventually, the Russian loyalists, I think I'll just call them the Russian loyalists or the monarchs, either one, yeah, will be able to go ahead and push back a lot more as they go ahead and just destroy the rest of the Russians, as the Volga Rebellion is going to go ahead and capture a lot more land, and eventually we'll be able to push back a lot more. The Belarusians will be able to push back over here and get close to taking the last standhold, or major standhold, of the Russian old government, as the Loyalists will be going ahead and taking this major city, which is the final real standpoint of the Russian government. But Russia is still going to fight, as they go ahead and lose more territory over to the Loyalists. As they go ahead and have all their territory fully captured over here, the rest of their troops. The Russians have nothing, as the rebellions, the Finnish, will be starting to push in a lot more, and will starting to be taking a bunch more land from the whole Russian thing. They basically want to annex as much land as possible before the Russians surrender. And that's their goal, and it's basically to have them get more land in the treaty. As the Russian loyalists will be going ahead and taking more major cities and starting to destroy the rest of the Russian government, as the Russians can't do anything. Yeah, that's a thing. And why is this still here? I don't know, but well, basically, eventually, the Russian dictatorship will surrender to the loyalists. As the Russian Civil War is over, and this is the remainder of the loyalist government in the rest of Russia. And well, Russia's old government is gone, and well, we're not going to look at that now. We're going to look at that in the Total Peace Treaty, which I have decided to make this this is going to have one more part. Part 4 of World War Zero, episode 24, is the final part of World War Zero, which will also be the Peace Treaty episode. Yeah. Going down here, we are going to be seeing a big event happen. As well, we are going to be seeing the Star Alliance over here, Diamond Alliance, declare war on the Hexagon Alliance. Egypt and the Polish and Egypt, the Egyptians, the Polish, and now the Mesopotamians, or the Mesopotamian religious people, are now all fighting the Greeks. Yep, that's pretty bad. And I want to recommend having this many wars happen in your singular nation. Yeah. But eventually, with the Greek troops coming down from Romania, eventually we are going to be seeing the Italians lose some land in their land, and the Egyptians will start to push back in the Athenian the Greeks will start to push back, as they will be able to fully capture all of Egypt's occupied territory. But oh wait, I've forgotten something. Iberia. And well, if I didn't mention this last episode, which I don't think I did, but well, a deal is being made between Scotland, southern Scotland, and England, and the Polish. Basically, the only reason England join the wars to get land in Germania. And England will be deciding to join the war, will be leaving the war on the side of the Star Alliance, and will be deciding to fight the War of Scottish on their own. And this deal is fed up, as the Polish basically abandoned the British and the British abandoned the Polish. Yeah. And while basically the Southern Scottish and the British will be fighting each other. Yeah. But the Scottish will be going ahead and pushing back more and take the rest of this and all the previously occupied land. Eventually, a deal is going to be made where the treaty of this war is going to happen in the next episode because, well, that's the final episode of World War Zero. And yeah, it's just better for simplicity's sakes to have stuff like that. But eventually going down to here, we are going to be seeing the Southern Scottish, being done with their English war a few months later, start more invasions of Iberia. But eventually the Iberians will be able to fully push back the Scottish and push them back to just the capital city of the once Galicia nation. The Iberian conquests are going very well, as this major city is captured over here. And eventually, these people will be going ahead and start pushing into more territory, taking this area here, and well, Catalonia's capital is captured, which is very bad. But well, and going to the African front, we're going to be seeing the Iberians capture this major city. But eventually, one big thing happens, and that might decide the fate of this war in Iberia. North Scotland declares war on Iberia. That is an interesting event, and in the capital city of Northern Scotland, these Northern Scottish state to their people that South Scotland is their brother. Yep. And they state that they will basically come to protect them at all costs, because even though they're kind of both forming colonial empires and kind of rivaling each other, they still stem from the same people, the French, and are basically the same, and have always been united, just not by border. So basically the Northern Scottish come in and help their Southern Scottish brothers in this war, and this is going to be appreciated by Southern Scotland by a lot, and a friendship is born between North and South Scotland. Yep. But back to the fighting, we are going to see the Southern Scottish make that landing in that major city and are able to greatly capture more territory back. As the Southern Scottishers start to push back and encircle a pretty large part of Iberian troops. These Iberian troops in question will be going ahead and surrendering. Makes sense. But eventually the Catalonians will start to push back as they see this Southern Scottish joining the war, the Northern Scottish joining the war as an opportunity to get land, as this major city is captured, and the Catalonians will start to push back with help from the Italians. Eventually, the Algerians will be able to force Iberia to get all their troops out of here, as they're going to go ahead and take this major city and eventually just slither down here and capture the rest of it, as Iberia surrenders out of Africa. But they will not be surrendering over here in Gibraltar just yet. Yep. Iberia is going to then decide to start navally invading over here in the Western Mediterranean Sea. As they go ahead and take these three islands, we're just going to anger the Italians and want more troops to come to Italy. Yeah. Going back to Greece, we're going to be seeing the Slovenians, the Balkans, we're going to be seeing the Slovenians go ahead and capture more land, and eventually we'll be able to take a bunch of land that's now occupied, once Yugoslav, and eventually they will be going ahead and taking this little tiny part of the Southern Orange Nation, and are starting to push back against the Romanians, as the Romanians are starting to lose a lot of their land. Yeah. And this is a very confusing war still. And well, let's where should we go now? Yeah. But in the final event of this video, we are going to be seeing a revolution happen. A very historical nation is going to be coming back to this map and wants revenge. Ever since the fall of their empire back in the first major conflict, they want their empire back, and they want to great nation. I am talking about Mesopotamia. As the Mesopotamians wanting to bring back their empire, bring back the glory of the empire of Mesopotamia, are going to rebel away from Judea in an act against the Mesopotamian alliance, which they call fake. When the Mesopotamians rebel, they state to their people that they think that the Mesopotamian Diamond Alliance is quote-unquote fake, and the Mesopotamians believe that this alliance should come to an end, and the real glory should go back to the Mesopotamians. And that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's scenario where civilization started over. See you next episode where we will end this war, and we will end the war known as World War Zero.